evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Shelly Speaks Truth, right here on TwoRawforTV.tv. I'm your host, Shelly, here along with my co-host, Ray. And if you are here for the first time, welcome. I do hope you enjoy tonight's broadcast. And if you are returning, welcome as well. Now, what we do around here is we do stream from a few other platforms, which are usually Facebook, YouTube, X, Twitter, and YouTube at times as well. But that is not for the entirety of the show. That will be for a portion of the show. So if you would like to see the entire show, you will have to come over to 2rawfortv.tv, and that is where you will get the entire show. So that is the number 2, raw, the number 4, tv.tv. And with that being said, once again, welcome, and I do hope that you all enjoy tonight's broadcast. Now, as many of you may have seen, we will be discussing the death of the African American, among other things tonight.
We're African American. The African American that died. We come on now, what's wrong with y'all?
Yeah, it's a whole lot.
I'm not understanding
that is going on right now that comes along with I guess you can call African American a nationality. I guess that's what it is.
Oh, so it's the death of the African American nationality, not the people.
You really thought it was the people?
I was just trying to figure it out.
I'm so mad with you right now. Really? I'm going to do a show about that? But anyway, I mean, I guess I could do a show about it, but that's a little bit out there. No, I'm referring to African American as a nationality, not the people. And many of you may be familiar, and some of you may not be familiar with the nationality and the lineage and heritage foundational Black American, which has pretty much replaced African American. And one of the, I guess you could say, main reasons for that is because some people are saying they're not African. They haven't been to Africa. They don't have any type of African customs or culture. The story is that those of us who are on the American continent right now, or north, whatever you want to call it, the continent, whatever. The story is that many of us who are here were brought over from West Africa about 400 plus years ago.
400 years.
And people are saying, this is the general consensus, that after 400 years, we have gone through an ethnogenesis and we are no longer Africans, which has merit. In my opinion, I am what you would call a foundational Black American, and I don't have any recent relatives in Africa. If I was to go to Africa today, I wouldn't be able to point to anybody and say this is my uncle or my aunt or my cousin or anything like that. So it does have merit, and I do understand why people would say, listen, we're not African Americans. But it has caused a lot of controversy online. People are upset by it. Another thing that I don't understand, I don't see why people care what we call ourselves, who are not of the culture or the lineage or heritage or whatever. I don't see why that matters to anybody else. But it has caused a lot of arguments and fighting online. And I've become familiar with the you know, identifier, the cultural identifier and heritage and nationality foundation of Black American about 2 years ago. It's something that really kicked up. Well, before this last election with Trump, um, it was something that was definitely in the atmosphere, but it became a lot more present during the election times because foundational Black Americans pretty much said that they need to have their own standalone political agendas and things like that because there's different Black people in the country. You have Black people of Caribbean heritage, you have Black people of Latin American heritage, you have Black people of African heritage, continental African heritage, who are in America. But foundational Black Americans have a distinct history in this country and a distinct, their own distinct political agendas, which is true, very apparently true. But again, it has caused a lot of discourse, and a lot of people are angry by that because they are saying that it is xenophobic for foundational Black Americans to separate themselves from Black people in the we're the diaspora. I guess they say anybody outside of Africa is the diaspora. So I guess I would say people are upset at the fact that they feel like foundational Black Americans are separating themselves from other Black people in America, such as people who are from the Caribbean, Africa. The Latin Americans, they haven't really vocalized it. You have some, but a lot of Latin Americans who are Black, they don't really see themselves as Black people, so they're not really. I haven't seen too many Latin Americans have something to say. Like I said, you have some, but for the most part, the pushback against foundational Black Americans have come from people of the Caribbean and of Africa, of the continental Africans, where they're pretty much saying that foundational Black Americans don't know who they are. They're trying to assimilate into whiteness or it's like I said, it's a lot that's going on right now. And some of you may know about the discourse that's going on. I listen to numerous podcasts on a daily basis so I'm pretty much aware of what is going on. You do have a portion of Black society that may know a little bit, but are not really fully, have a full understanding of what is happening. And the reason why I'm talking about this tonight, because me personally, because they're saying there's a diaspora war that's going on right now between Caribbeans, Africans, and foundational Black Americans, where you have some people that are saying foundational Black Americans think they're better than everybody else and things like that. I personally feel like this is very silly. Like I said before, I don't think that it's anybody's business, really, like what foundational Black Americans' political agendas are or what they choose to call themselves. I personally don't understand why anybody would be upset by that. So that's where my confusion comes in at. Because you have people that are videos that I've seen as of late, you have people saying that foundational Black Americans are treating Africans and people from the Caribbean how white supremacists treat Black people. And I don't agree with that at all. I think that that's crazy that anybody would think that. So, like I said, I've hesitated to talk about this because I feel like this whole thing is pretty silly. But it's something that has gotten really bad, to be honest. So I feel like I need to at least voice my opinion about it and, have the conversation, because the conversations are happening everywhere. And some people are saying, okay, this is only online and, it's not that big of a deal. But if we're going to be honest, online is the new social interaction that people have with each other. People have, I would say, most of their social interactions in this day and age are happening online. So you can't really say it's just online, because the discourse that is happening online is how people really feel. And the thing about being online, people are going to be way more inclined to express how they really feel, within the confines of their home, within the safety of their homes. They're going to be way more inclined to be very vocal about how they're truthfully feeling, as opposed to being outside with the threat of, certain things happening if a person feels like you're getting out of line with them. So again, we cannot just minimize this to being something that's online, because people are getting online and they're really expressing how they feel. And it's something that I really don't like to see. I don't like to see division among Black people, but I feel like it's something that has come to a head, and something that is necessary, honestly, if we're going to find any type of solutions where we can move forward as Black people. This is something that had to happen, honestly. Speaking as a foundational Black American, I can say that, and I'm not being biased because I am a foundational Black American, but I'm going to be very honest in saying that I don't feel like foundational Black Americans started this. Because if anybody knows anything about a foundational Black American, you know that we don't really separate ourselves from other Black people. Black people who have come to America as immigrants, we've always embraced them. We never had a thing where we're like, oh, we're not going to hang around the Jamaicans or the Haitians or the Africans. We never had that. We don't really have that in our community. But
you might not know it's there, but it's definitely there.
It's not a big thing, though. It's not something where we're like, we don't teach. My parents never taught me to not hang around a Jamaican or an African or a Haitian. That's not something that we were taught. We weren't taught to separate ourselves from other Black people or look down on them. That's just not. If you ask the average Black, foundational Black American person, they'll tell you the same thing. They were never taught to separate themselves from Black people because they were of a different, culture.
Hear me out. Hear that saying that statement, that exact statement that you just made, right? Mm-hmm. I can hear 8 million white people saying together, my parents never taught me to hate Black people or to disassociate myself from Black people. Mm-hmm. But if you ask the Black people who that has happened to, they'll have a whole different story to tell. Right? Mm-hmm. It's the same way where the people who have lived it, the immigrants who have lived it and have felt it, will tell you that it exists. It's definitely there. But the people who are actually doing it will tell you this is not something that is actually happening, because it's not on it's more of a subconscious level than a conscious level. And it really didn't dawn on me until I just heard you say it. And I was like, oh shit.
Can you give me some examples of that? When have you ever interacted with a foundational Black American that...
My whole life. So my whole life of being...
that separated themselves from you.
They didn't know they were doing it. My whole life of being in America.
But you're saying that's a very broad, general statement. Right, it's not really.
I'll give you one of the earliest. Directly. I'll give you one of the earliest things.
Okay.
That nobody in the situation, except for me, realized how effective it was, or how, and it was nothing malicious by the people that happened, but it was a identification here. There's a clear separation here.
In what ways?
So when I just came here, right? I was in school. I'm handsome young fella. Always been handsome, right? But I ain't from here.
Modest.
Huh?
You're very modest.
I'm just a little bit modest. But I'm not from here, right? So I don't really know the lingo and all of that. So one day we're lining up. We're in school and we're lining up to go to lunch, right? You all get on the line, single file line to lunch, and somebody in the class says to me about somebody, a girl in the class, hey, she wants to go with you. I've never heard this saying before. This is a something that is said in America. Hey, I want to go with you. You go with me. I go with her. They go with. It is referring to like a relationship type of thing, right? I've never heard that before in my life. My response was, I thought we were all going together. Right? It was just innocent. It was innocent on their part. It was innocent on my part. But now that showed, it was just like a big laughing stock now, because everybody understood that something that I didn't understand. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we're all going together. Don't you see we're all getting on this line? We're all going. But and that in itself, nobody knew they were doing anything. But it created a separation, that in itself. And from just little things like that. But that's just one of the things that was really like, it stuck out in me because I was a young child, and you know what I mean? It was like an embarrassing situation. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of little things like that, man.
That is a cultural difference, and I could see how someone not being of the culture could feel isolated in that situation. I'm not diminishing your experience, but that is just the remnants of a cultural difference. That's not someone saying, hey, don't hang around that Jamaican. That's what I mean by that's not something that we're taught. But I have seen people get online and admit, like, they were told, don't associate with that foundational Black American. Like, don't be with that person because it's something wrong with them. Like, they're in so many ways, they're beneath you. Like, don't associate yourself with that because that's something that there's something wrong with associating with that person.
I was taught that, but I wasn't taught that at home. You know where I was taught that? I was literally taught that in school in America. Like, hey, you're different. You're not. You see, these Black American people, you're not the same. Literally, that's what a teacher said to all of us in the classroom.
And this was a
Boyd Anderson.
This
was Boyd. No, this was a white teacher.
That is another. that is one of the identifying issues that caused delineation to happen. Because foundational Black Americans said, hold on, wait a minute, we are not going to continue to be told that we are worthless and that we are this and we are that, and our homeland in a country that our ancestors built, and everybody is talking to us like we're nobody. And that has led to a massive delineation movement within foundational Black American society, where people are saying if we are going to interact with each other, it's going to be from a standpoint of mutual respect. And that's something that I can definitely agree with. Like I said, as a foundational Black American, I was never taught to disassociate myself from another Black person because they had a different cultural background from me. That's just not something that we were taught. And when we hear people from Africa or the Caribbean or even certain Latin American countries, they will admit that they're, like you said, you weren't taught that in your household, but a white person of all people,
that's
had
honestly,
the audacity to tell you not to associate with foundational Black American people.
And honestly, I would venture to even to say that those type of things don't come from the homes of these, from the most part. And if they are coming from the homes of it's for some reason has been taught to them by some white individual somewhere along the line. Simply because of my experience, and because that's the only place I've ever heard it. It's the only place it's ever came from. You know what I mean? Like I've heard about it online and things like that, but in real life, it was sitting down in front of a classroom, and being told, "Hey, listen," and there was like maybe 3 Black Americans in that class. They definitely felt the way, but what could they do?
I don't know what school you went to, but at
It was
Miami
Boyd
Park.
Anderson High School.
A high school?
Yeah, Boyd Anderson.
Oh. Nah, at Miami Northwestern, that classroom would have turned up. And it was a white teacher, too?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had a lot of foundational Black Americans at my high school.
We had a lot of Jamaicans in my high school.
Oh.
There was a lot of Jamaicans and Haitians in my high school.
No, at Miami Northwestern, that classroom would have been flipped inside out. But, yeah, so, I mean, whatever way it has been taught, it's something that was taught. And it has caused foundational Black Americans to feel a way, because it's like, you know, nobody respects our culture. As a foundational Black American, 9 times out of 10, you have been told that you don't even have a culture. You've been told, and if someone does, you know, relate any type of culture to you, it's always something that's degenerate. But that's not foundational Black American culture. Foundational Black American culture is the fabric of America, if we're going to be real. Everything moral about the United States of America came from foundational Black Americans. And that's just the reality of the situation. Because white Americans had to be shown how to have morals. And this is, you know, I mean, it might sound crazy, but it's the truth. Everything moral about this nation that it evolved into, it was through the struggle and sacrifice of foundational Black Americans. And the problem is, people come to the country and they don't have enough respect to even care to learn the history of the country. So when you have a skewed vision of foundational Black American history, and you only go by what someone is telling you, and you haven't taken out the time to even try to learn anything about it, about the culture, about the history, about the legacy, it's a very fascinating culture. I mean, I learn something new every day, and I'm blown away. Like, wow. You know, it's a fascinating story. It's a fascinating culture. It's a fascinating heritage and lineage. It really is. So, you know, people are now acting confused because they're like, why are foundational Black Americans trying to separate themselves from the Caribbean or Africa? And I don't think that foundational Black Americans want to be separate. But here's the thing. Like I said earlier, foundational Black Americans have a unique relationship with the United States of America that is not the relationship that somebody who immigrated here has. It's just not. It's not the same history. It's not the same heritage, it's not the same legacy, nothing. It's just not the same as a black person who immigrated here. So when we have a situation like what we're seeing right now, there's a lot of reparations hearings that are going on around the country. And a lot of people don't know about them because the mainstream media is not going to broadcast that. They do not want reparations on the airwaves. That's something that they want to keep buried for as long as they possibly can. So it's not something that you're going to see on your nightly news. But reparations hearings are happening all across the country right now as we speak. So when you have a situation where we have black people who are not foundational black Americans, who are in political positions and things like that, and they don't ally themselves with foundational black Americans, that is a problem. That is a big problem. Because you have people like a Byron Donalds who, what is he, he's not a governor. He has some type of political position, and he's like a state representative in Florida, where he was very vocal in saying that he doesn't support reparations for foundational black Americans because he is a Panamanian and some other island. And he's like, he's not qualified for reparations in the United States of America, so he doesn't support it. And it's like, well, damn. You're a black man. You're aware of the injustices that were done against foundational black Americans throughout the entire legacy of slavery, and then everything that happened for 100+ years after slavery. So why wouldn't you support that? To me, that's an insult and a slap in the face, to be honest. So again, like I said, when we have people that are not of the lineage and the heritage that doesn't ally with us, and they kind of jump in front of our progression, that is a big ass problem. Because because you're not qualified to get it, you're going to run interception from us getting it. So you have those situations like that people are calling out, and it's a big problem. And if something doesn't occur where we can get all on the same page, this problem is going to amplify even more, because the things that I'm seeing online are really bad. This is not some fly-by-night thing that is, just a kick in the can. These are real issues that are happening among black people that are a problem. And we have to address these problems. And, I say this respectfully, but if you don't support foundational black Americans' causes, because we have legitimate gripes against the United States government for the legacy of what has happened to us in this country, what has happened to our ancestors, which had a domino effect in our progression in this country. If you can't find a way to humble yourself and understand that it's very counterproductive for you to work against us, then like I said, that's a problem. And those are the types of issues that need to be addressed, because these things have been happening for so long, and foundational black Americans have kind of been just like letting it roll off their shoulders. And by not calling things like this out sooner, it really has kind of blown out of proportion. So like I said, respectfully, I would say if you're not going to ally with us, don't try to run interference in our progression, because that's honestly that is very vital. Like, why would you even want to do that as another black person? would be the question that I would ask the people that don't agree with reparations and things like that. Well, first of all, why would you not agree with it? Why would you not want us to get our just due? That's first. And secondly, if you don't agree with it, why would you be so vocal and then take actual actions into, you know, interfering with us moving forward with that particular movement? But before I get into these videos, do you have anything that you would like to add? Because like I said, this is not just something that is, you know, people are talking about. This is about to have real world tangible effects.
I mean, like what? Like what kind of effects do you think? That's the only thing I would like. What kind of effects do you think that something like this can have? Like,
well, it's definitely causing it's definitely causing friction among black people from the Caribbean, from Africa, from Foundation of Black Americans right here in America. I mean, we're all here in America right now together. And there's a big separation happening because, like I said, Foundation of Black Americans feel slighted and disrespected by black immigrants.
but I mean, so like what do you foresee happening though? Like,
to be honest with you, I think that it's just going to get to a point where we don't associate with each other. Like not in large numbers. Not down to everybody's personal life, but like on a collective level, I think that we'll just be separate as black people.
But so that already exists. If that's what's happened, if that's what comes out of it, then it's like, because people from Jamaica are very strong. They're from Jamaica. People from Haiti are very strong. They're from Haiti. They're Haitians. People from Nigeria are very strong. They're from Nigeria. People from Grenada and you know, we could go to any one of these carnivals and you can see that, right? The definite identified. So that already exists, right? My thing, if that's happening, then good. Kudos to Foundation of Black American. Kudos, right? Because there's always been a thing, like you said. Like, what's the real identity? So, for that to be on spotlight and to be shown to the rest of the world, hey, just like you, Jamaican, I have somewhere that I can call mine too. I'm not from this place of Afro-American that nobody's ever heard of. Then, hey, kudos. But that's not something that is like a negative in any kind of way for anybody. How could it possibly be? Because one person identifying themselves doesn't take away another person's identity.
You're right. But there's almost 50 million foundational Black Americans in America.
Okay.
And I'm about to get into this video right now. Where there is an actual boycott that is being called for. So this is what I mean by tangible effects.
All right, that's it. I think I see something that says boycott here.
So listen, I made this post to boycott the African braid shops. And honestly, I didn't expect it to pick up as much momentum as it did, but it did, and I think it's a good thing. And like I said, I don't just talk about it, I bees about it. So, since it's picking up so much momentum, since we are in a paradigm shift, and since we as Black Americans are really sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of telling them we are sick and tired of being beat, battered, bullied, and abused by every ethnicity that is not a Black American, I have picked a date, and I say starting August the 1st, for the entire month of August, we boycott African-owned businesses. That includes restaurants, hair salons, braid shops, etc., etc. It's time to show them that our Black American dollar is what runs this damn country. We are no longer tolerating disrespect. We are demanding it. We have been punching bags long enough. No more. So, I say again, August 1st, we're going to start. And for the entire month of August, no support for African businesses from Black America. Now, there are some of you in the comments that are saying, well, if we're going to do this to our own people, to Africans, which, by the way, they're not our own people. They are not Black American, and they don't even want to associate themselves with us. But I digress. If we're going to do this to them, then y'all are saying, well, we should do this to the Asians. We should do this to the Arabs. We should do this to this. I agree. And if you want to do that, start your cause. Shit, again, I bees in the trap. I'm about this life. We can do one ethnicity a month for all I care. Start your cause. Get out my comments. Start your cause, and we'll follow it. That's it. Don't challenge me to do it. I'm doing what I believe in right now. So you do what you believe in right now. This one is August. Pick who you want to do for the month of September. State your case. Start your cause. Share your video that is motivating this. And rally the troops. I'm all in. But right now, for the month of August, August 1st through August 31st, no support for African businesses. All right? And as I always say, Black American power. Let's go. So listen, if you are on
don't know.
Let me see here.
I've been talking all this time and people can't hear me.
No, just now. Let me see. Did this thing just turn off? It certainly did.
Oh.
I got a trick for them. It wasn't long. I just got the text message. I just got the text
mouth with no mic.
I just got the text messages now.
I'm over here yapping my mouth with no damn mic.
Yeah, I just got it fixed. I just saw your text message. I just got it fixed. All right, thanks. All right.
Anyway, are we gonna open the phone lines? Because I want to hear from the people on this. Like I said, as a foundational Black American, that would be my ethnic identifier. This is not something that I particularly want to see happening. I don't really like discourse between Black people, but I feel like everything happens for a reason, and I feel like the whole entire house has to be torn down and rebuilt. And it may not get rebuilt. Some people might feel like, hey, we'll just be different Black people and we'll just be separate Black people. That's what some people feel like should happen.
I mean, like I said before, that's already a thing. We are separate Black people. For Black Americans to identify that, I think is maybe it's a great thing.
We are separate Black people ethnically. I think people always knew that. People know that. But I think in America, and I could be wrong, but from what I've seen, when I go out to events and things like that, you have Black people of various ethnic backgrounds kind of mingling with each other, supporting each other's businesses.
In real life, Black people are Black people. Like,
right, but I don't think,
like
I said, I don't think people understand the magnitude of what is happening right now, because people keep trying to diminish this to something that's just online, but it's not just
so
online.
when you say the magnitude of what's happening, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what's really actually happening other than foundational Black people identifying themselves as such? Like, I really don't get it, because to me, as far in my memory as goes, Haitians always came here, and I still identified as Haitians, even when you become an American citizen, right? Jamaicans still come here and identify as a Jamaican. Even when you become an American citizen, you still have a place where this is where your grandma, your father, that's where your roots came from. Certain little identifying traits about you. You eat certain things because you're not the same, right? So if for foundational Black America to point that out about themselves, I don't see where that could be wrong. Now, the video
you don't see where that could be wrong because you're not a tether.
What is a tether?
Oh boy, this thing runs a lot deep. That's what I'm saying. This is a multi-layered situation.
You see what I'm saying? Like, every Black American probably know what a tether is. I don't know what that is. I've never heard
Let's just say this. You know what a coon is, because you've heard coon several times.
Okay.
A coon is a domestic term that foundational Black Americans have for Black Americans who are off code. A tether is a foreign Black person who is off code. So it's like it's the international version of a coon. Like, coon is a domestic term that foundational Black Americans call, like I said, other off code Black people domestically.
See, yeah,
that come from America. But again, a tether is somebody who comes to America and they how can I put this? They undermine foundational Black Americans. Somebody like a Myron Gaines, somebody who has a large platform and consistently talks about how Black American people are the worst type of Black person and things like that. So that would be a tether. Somebody who immigrates to America and has disdain for Black people, American Black people, undermine American Black people. So that's a tether. You're not a tether. You're an immigrant, but you're not a tether. There's an entire tether class of immigrants in America, and those are the people, like a Byron Donalds, that says he doesn't feel that foundational Black Americans should get reparations because his family's heritage is not in America, although he lives in America, although he's functioning in American society, but he's throwing a monkey wrench in the game because he's an elected official. So he's throwing a monkey wrench in the game for Black foundational Black Americans getting reparations. That's someone that would be called a tether.
So is that the reason behind boycotting African products, to get this guy to jump on board, or to get elected
Not just him, the tether class in general.
Okay, so now that makes sense, because before it didn't make sense to me.
Because you live under a rock and you work all day and you don't know what's going on.
I actually live amongst people.
That's what I keep saying. People keep saying, oh, I don't live on the internet. Whether people want to face it or not, the internet is the real world in 2025. And now what's happening on the internet is about to have tangible, yes, internet is virtual reality, but what's going on in virtual reality is about to have tangible effects in society. And tangible see, hear, taste, feel, touch society. Because what I'm telling people is that foundational Black Americans are ready to delineate from foreign Black people. And this is not just on the internet.
So,
they're calling.
I see where. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Where does that hurt? How does that hurt? So, for instance, with this boycott, right? Just for instance, the boycott. To me, one of the first things that stick out is August 1st, right? That's around when school starts. By that time, back to school shopping is done. All the little girls got their hair done. They've been to the salon, right? There is no more money to spend for the rest of them that month, because that's the first.
Well, it's people that's already doing it. This woman just called for August 1st.
Yeah, that's.
Hold on, we got a call coming in. Caller, you live?
Yeah,
let me know if you can hear the caller.
Tether class of people.
Yeah, you can hear.
Oh, when you said tether class,
Mm-hmm.
that took me all the way out. That took me off.
See, that's a Black America thing, right?
I was laughing so hard. But no, the foundational Black American thing is powerful because it actually identifies people that were here in America that had the ancestry of slavery. So there's prerequisites to be a foundational Black American. Mm-hmm. And that's something that these other labels just glossed over. And they glossed over these details that make us distinctly from this place for different reasons, because they want to play the class game. They want to play the game where they they put everybody in this box of African American or Black, and then they'll try to have the African and the Black person go against each other. Or they'll give Black Africans or certain people, different immigrants, different sorts of things to sort of play that class game between Black people. So I think it's a very good thing as far as distinguishing ourselves, and putting ourselves distinguishing ourselves from and identifying for us who we are.
Mm-hmm.
I think it gets kind of dicey when it's like the online thing. I think is I think it is more or less marketing for Tariq Nasheed. You know what I'm saying? And what he got going on. You know what I'm saying? Because he is one of the people that put it out there, and it is a good tool. But the thing about when it becomes like, I think black people, we need to learn how to, like, white supremacists, they have these in-house fights, but they don't take these in-house fights on the internet per se. They, you know what I'm saying, like, you still have the people that they don't like Irish, they don't like Italian, they, you know what I'm saying, they're infighting. The whole Ukraine thing is infighting, you know, and Republicans, Democrats, these people are infighting. But they don't necessarily put it out there like black people. Like, we just put it out there like we're fighting against all these people. And then you do have the other people that are off code, like you said, Tether class, that are fighting against black people. I think there's a better way to do it.
Let me just jump in here for 1 second. The tether class is a problem for black immigrants, and the problem is there's not enough black immigrants speaking against tethers. Tethers, they come to America to, I'm not saying that that's the reason why they decided to immigrate to America, but when they get here, they align themselves with things that undercut foundational black Americans.
Yeah.
Like for the example that I outlined, you have somebody who is of Caribbean heritage, who's in politics and has political power, and they're speaking against reparations. Like, why would you do that in the position that you're in? You have a lot of eyes on you. You have some level of influence in politics. Why would you speak against reparations for foundational black Americans?
Because he feels.
To me, that's a tether.
As a politician, to me, you know, when you ask that question, it's a simple answer. He feels like that's what he's saying. What he's thinks is going to get him elected.
Well, then you're a tether. You're a tether.
At the end
Period.
of the day.
You're not in alignment with the black grassroots, and the black grassroots has shown their power in this election. The black grassroots, even though people don't want to admit it, although they had to come back and admit it later, you had Roland Martin cussing people out. You had what's that other woman, that kind of heavyset black woman, she has that low haircut, God, what's her name? She's always on MSNBC. I can't think of her name right now. She's like a pundit on MSNBC. She comes in and talks from time to time. You're not talking
about Reed.
No, not Joy Reid. Not Joy Reid. I think this woman is a black American, but her name is escaping me right now. But she's very well known. She had to come out and admit that foundational black Americans, for the most part, is what collapsed the Democrats in this election. Because we're the majority of black people in this country. Like there's 50 million on record foundational black Americans in America. That's a lot of people. And that will yield some form of political power. And for the most part, foundational black Americans showed their political power by sitting home and not voting for anybody. And because the Democrats needed that support from foundational black American society, they lost the election because they had tens of millions of votes that they didn't get. So my whole point with that is that because Dre is saying he doesn't, I guess you don't understand how us calling ourselves foundational black Americans and having that cultural identifier, like what real world effects is going to have.
No, what I'm saying is, if a people or a person or people or a set of people or whatever find themselves getting hurt by anybody or any group of people, simply identifying themselves, they deserve to get hurt. And like, what's the big deal?
Because they're saying that well, they feel like it's foolish for foundational Black Americans to call themselves foundational Black Americans. I guess people just have an opinion on that. And that portion of it, I don't really pay it any attention, because I kind of feel the way you feel about it. Like, why does that matter to anybody? Why would anybody be hurt by that? But you'll be surprised how many people are angry with it. How many people are calling it a cult? How many people are saying it's Black MAGA? How many people are saying we are Black white supremacists? Like, it's people have an issue with it. But let me, because I went off on a tangent. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I was just saying that I think it's a good thing. And I think that a lot of the back and forth between Black people and different people that are just like different so-called tethers and stuff like that, I do think there's a lot of marketing involved, because there is a highbrow, high discussion about foundational Black Americans, because that is a reparations discussion. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's a discussion about reparations. It's a discussion about what Black people are owed. It's about a discussion about what Black people have done in this country. It's a discussion about, you know, the true essence of what America is. Mm-hmm. Then you have the conversation where anybody can enter the text. Anybody can enter that chat. You know what I'm saying? That's the sort of like the tether conversation, mm-hmm. which is sometimes funny and online, especially like on Twitter and stuff like that. But anybody can enter that chat. And I think that sort of is a marketing thing of like marketing, especially for like you know, Tariq Nasheed stuff, and I you know, I love, you know, it's a good marketing tool, but I think sometimes it gets people like unfocused, because what the focus should be is on what does that mean and what are we owed.
Well, and Tariq, what I will say, because I do listen to a lot of Tariq Nasheed content, he does make it very clear what the focal point of our agenda is as foundational Black Americans, and he's repeated many times that he is not looking to be a leader of anybody, because foundational Black American is not an organization, it's not a group, it's a cultural heritage and lineage. So there is no leader of a lineage or a heritage. But because he has a big platform, a lot of people like to attribute him being the leader of FBA, but FBA is not a group, it's not an organization. So there is no leader. It's just, you know, people of a culture and heritage being on code with each other to reach a common goal. And you know, so for me it kind of muddies the waters when people try to make it seem like he's the leader of FBA. There is no leader of FBA. If there is a leader of FBA, the leader is the code that we need to follow to, you know, be on code with each other to get different things done for our lineage of people. So
that's true. But if I could just say this as well, like a lot of the tether conversation is generated by Tariq Nasheed. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it is, because you already know. I mean, as a foundational Black American, you already know some roasting is going to be afoot. That's going to happen. And when you have folks calling in saying you niggas don't have a culture, you niggas are this and you niggas are that, you know, they're going to get some pushback. And you know, if you get called a tether, it's just what comes along with it. You can't call in trying to roast and think that you gonna just roast and it's gonna fly. It don't work like that. Roasting is another thing that's a part of foundational Black American culture. And some people get offended by it, but it's just what it is. I mean, I got roasted every day at school and I roasted back. It's just what it is. So that's another thing of like, people having to understand the culture that they're coming into. And that's the problem that I have. You know, people come to America and they try to act like there wasn't people here when they got here. Like, we're not invisible. We're here. Like, we're here. We have a culture, we have a heritage, we have a lineage. We've been doing our thing on this land, so we're not just here in the background. Like, we're here. And I just feel like it's a respect thing. I think people need to respect that. And I don't feel like it's a problem, you know, just demanding that people show you respect. And I think that that's why this thing kind of blew out of proportion in the ways that it did, because people feel like the respect for our culture just isn't there. And, you know, I can attest to that, because I've heard people say things like, you don't have a culture and stuff like that. But, you know, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I don't know what's about to happen. But I do see, like, I'm in a lot of foundational Black American spaces on social media. And I hear people saying, we need to separate ourselves from these foreign Black people because they don't respect us. They don't respect our culture. They think they're better than us. These are things that conversations that I'm hearing people have. Like, they don't respect the fact that we're 50 million strong up in here, and we are Americans. Like, we're the foundation of this country. So it's a thing where people just feel like, you know, there needs to be some level of respect if we're going to intermingle with each other.
Well, let me say that too. Before I get off the line, I want to say this one thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Look at like what happened in Rwanda. Mm-hmm. You know, there was a lot of that before, because a lot of these immigrants and Africans are artificially propped up to be, you know, they're given money, they're given loans, they're given all these sorts of things to sort of prop up this fake sense of superiority towards Black people. Now, when, you know, when in Rwanda, when the French left, that's when there was this underlining tension between the Hutsis and the Tutsis because of the same thing, because one group of people were artificially propped up. And then it resulted in that civil war, you know what I'm saying, when they left. So I think really our focus should be on the, you know, the what we're owed,
Mm-hmm.
what we've done,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, all of that, you know, and then, you know, that it's gonna be us, you know what I'm saying? Like these people don't come in line. They're not gonna bring somebody like a Marcus Garvey or, you know, like Malcolm X or anybody.
No, Marcus
like
Garvey got ran out the
not-
paint. They sent Marcus Garvey back to Jamaica.
Right. They're not gonna let anybody like that in willingly. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta understand that if people are coming into this country, they're already on the coon side. At least they pretended to be to get here. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, you make a good point. All right, well, thank you so much for your call. As always, you have something enlightening to bring to the conversation, so thank you for your call.
All right, Shelly speaks true.
All right. So I think I did a pretty good job of outlining the issues. But like I said, I have been in spaces where I'm hearing people saying, like, aside from we're foundational Black Americans and, you know, this is our homeland for the past hundreds to possibly even thousands of years, and, you know, we cut out a lane here on this land for ourselves, and we really don't need people who look like us coming over here undermining us. And like I said, that you know, outlook of it, I wholeheartedly agree with, because like the caller was just saying, you know, our focus needs to be on what it is that we are looking to achieve as a culture of people. But at the same time, where it gets kind of insidious is because we are all black people. So when we have a situation like the reparation situation, where people feel like they have the right to get in our mix and say what we don't need and what we shouldn't have and what they don't agree with, it's kind of like you become a problem for us because you're a black-skinned, black-faced person and you're running interference in what we got going on. So that stuff has to be called out. That's not something that we can let slide, because that's going to prolong progress, and that's something that we simply just can't have.
But that should be an easy fix though, right? Because that's a politician, right? So, I mean, easy fix is just get him out, you know, don't vote for him. So that fixes that, right?
Yeah, he's one person, but the problem is there's a lot of people, well, I won't say a lot, I don't have a number, but just based on what I see in the interactions that, you know, like I said, online is where people come to commune in 2025. So you have a lot of people saying that black Americans need to just work hard. You hear a lot of people from Africa saying that we don't work hard and stuff like that. And it's like, your relationship with America is not our relationship with America. And that's what people need to understand. You're coming in with a completely different ideology, connection. You don't have any history here in America because you're not from America. So it's like you don't understand, and then instead of you educating yourself to understand, you keep throwing monkey wrenches in the game. And that is what people are having a problem with. And I don't understand why people are being disingenuous, acting like that's not happening, but it is happening. And now that it's being called out, everybody's acting like foundational black Americans are xenophobic and we hate Africans and we hate Caribbeans, when nothing could be, I mean, that's just the furthest thing from the truth.
So again, for me, if someone is hurt, or people or whatever is hurt or gets hurt by another set of people identifying themselves, well, they deserve that hurt that they're gonna get, right? Mm-hmm. So if identifying, tying this video that we played back in, if identifying self means doing a boycott against whatever nation or what, let's say we're not going to do anything, we're not going to support anybody that's not foundational black America for a month, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever the case might be, right? If that is what it takes for black Americans, I shouldn't say black Americans because you're pouring out the liquor on the black Americans, foundational black Americans. I
didn't pour out liquor on black Americans.
That's what
it said African Americans.
All right. Well,
poured out the liquor, seriously?
The liquor. But whatever the case might be, if that's what it takes to identify one's culture, and hey, so be it. Fine. I mean, okay. And if other people get hurt by that, well,
should I play the other video?
Okay.
Because
I mean, if you have another video to play, you should play it. Why not?
I mean, I kind of feel like at this point I'm beating a dead horse a little bit. But I'll play the video just to further illustrate how bad this is getting. Well, how bad it has gotten, not getting. It's a big deal. And I think that, you know,
I think that's what I keep on having a problem with, because you keep on saying bad. Like, why is it bad? But go ahead, I guess
the reason why, no, I'm
let me
saying
play
the
video before you explain.
situation is getting bad.
Let me play the video.
Okay,
before
go
you
ahead.
explain.
For America. The difference between myself and my mother and a lot of other Caribbean or other ethnic people is I didn't forget my roots, and neither did my mother. We have a lovely 5-bedroom house in Jamaica. We
But
didn't
you
forget
don't
our
live
roots.
there. But you don't live there.
Oh, actually, I was just there last week.
Yes, you treat your home like a vacation. Why do you guys do
What do you
that?
mean treat my home like a vacation?
treat your home like a
Stop being
vacation.
stupid. Everybody
No,
knows that
you're
a lot of
clear,
people
like I
come
said.
to America
Go live in that
for a better
5-bedroom.
opportunity. We understand that Jamaica's a third world country. A lot of people come to America for a better opportunity. The problem is, I'm
Make
trying to
your
figure
own
out how do we
opportunity
get
in
on
your
how do we
homeland.
get on a platform where we're fighting against each other, and just so y'all know, white people don't like being called white tea people.
That's cool. You
offensive.
immigrants are useless. We already know that.
Immigrants are useless. No, fucking black Americans are useless. You worthless, crackhead, junkie motherfuckers that walk the fucking streets, smoking dope all fucking day, don't want to work, only know how to work at fucking Wall.
No, don't mute her, man. Don't fucking mute her. Let her go. Go. Do not. Anybody who interrupt, I'm drop. Anybody who
Talk to
interrupt,
me.
I'm dropping
Talk
you.
to me with my $40-something+ an hour blood clot job. Talk to me, you fucking worthless ass motherfucking no good ass fucking Americans. That's why they keep y'all asses in whips and fucking chains. Y'all don't have no culture. Y'all don't have nothing. Y'all don't have shit. Tell me what kind of culture y'all have in this fucking country. Black Americans don't have shit. Y'all are fucking worthless, bum-ass motherfuckers. Like I said, get up every day, go collect fucking food stamps, live on fucking Section 8, and want to take the people them fucking food stamp money and go buy crab legs. You worthless motherfuckers.
Anything else? Stop signing me. I'm gonna drop you. Stop. Anything else? Boy, this is good TV. Anything else? Go ahead. The floor is yours, cool. We crackhead.
Yes, I'm here, motherfucker, to build a better opportunity. I can't wait for Donald Trump to send all you dumb black American worthless ass motherfuckers to fucking alligator Alcatraz. Goodbye.
She crashed out.
whew, she said a lot.
Yes, you did.
She said a whole lot.
And that's my point. So that's my point. Like, how does proving her wrong hurt anyone? How does anyone get hurt by proving her wrong?
I mean, she said a whole lot of nonsense, to be honest.
But regardless,
People like that, I don't even pay them any attention, because when they say that, I know they don't know American history.
but we brought the video here for a reason,
Right. I'm just
So-
saying, like, you're saying, because I don't know, you seem like you're confused. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but you're saying, what I'm gathering from what you're saying that if people got to get hurt because foundational black Americans are saying, we are foundational black Americans, this is our culture, this is our heritage, this is our lineage, we're a separate group of black people, and if people get hurt by that, they just get hurt.
So be it.
I understand that, but it's not just identifying that we're foundational black Americans. Like I said, I've been in spaces where I've heard foundational black Americans saying that they're just going to cut ties completely with black immigrants.
Okay, but so that's what I'm saying. What does that hurt? Like
That they're saying that they're not going to support any immigrant businesses because I don't know if maybe people don't understand and maybe they don't see it now because it's not something that's like actively happening every day. But foundational black Americans do give a massive amount of support to businesses of everybody.
Okay, so that I think that's where we need to get to, because when we say, so are you, because the way you just said that, it would make it seem as if, right, that people are going out of their way, not getting any benefit, but supporting, right? They're not they're not supporting themselves by getting all this benefit of what they're either purchasing or utilizing, right, through these businesses and these items and these things, right? So my thing is, that's really unrealistic in this day and age for any group of people. Well, I shouldn't say that because Chinese proved it, right? Chinese proved that they could stick to there's a China fucking town everywhere, right? And that's where they go shopping, and that's what. So if Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, are saying, "Hey, listen, we're not gonna eat at the Jamaican restaurants. We're not gonna go send our kids to the African weave store or the African braid shop, right? We're not going to we're not gonna go support the Asian ladies' nail salon, right? We're gonna do all of those things ourselves, and we're only gonna support ourselves in doing those things." Even within that, it's not, in this day and age, in these United States of America, it's not a realistic thing. I can see you having towns like Chinatown, Blacktown, right? I can see that, but on a whole, I don't see it very feasible for that to have a long-term negative effect on anyone. I could see it having a positive effect on foundational Black Americans. But as I said before,
how do you not see it having a long-term negative effect on anyone? How?
I really, because I mean, how does it, like, that's what I'm saying. For it's people are always going to adapt. People are always going to transform. People are, if the argument is that all these other countries that do business in America, the majority of their business comes from Black America, if that's the argument, right, and Black America is going to pull that back, right, if that's the argument, then that would be the only argument that can actually hurt, that would be able to actually hurt anybody else.
Well, we
right?
see it because the government gives people from foreign countries loans and things like that to go set up and shop in Black communities.
And if that's the case, right, and that foundational Black America achieves that and does pull that back, these people that are benefiting from that are going to be just as resilient as they were when they got these things set up and do other things. So I don't see anybody having a real long-term negative effect. The only thing I can see is positive for the people that are identifying themselves. I think it's freaking great. And I don't think anybody gets hurt in actuality.
Well, that's a perspective that's logical and makes sense and has merit. But I guess we don't know what's going to happen. I guess nobody knows what's going to happen until it's actually happening. I don't think any business wants to lose any form of support that they've been getting for generations in this country, and being propped up in large numbers by the foundational Black American communities. That's something that is not to me, that's not a small feat.
Yeah, but you see, you're saying it as when you say being propped up, and it's just like, again, it's not these Black American families and things taking their money and saying, "Hey, we're gonna prop you up." It's saying, "Hey, I need to buy these services from you. These services that you're offering, I'm gonna pay you for these services. We're gonna have an exchange." Because I don't feel like doing those things, or I can't do those things, or I haven't learned how to do those things, or I'm not willing to learn how to do those things. I'll pay you to do those things. So it's an exchange. It's not no propping up of anything.
They make a hell of a lot of money off of Black American Foundation of Black American
but it's not, that doesn't mean it's a propping up. That just means they make a lot of money. They sell a lot of services.
Well, I mean,
Black Americans buy a lot of services.
Being propped up to a degree because,
No, being propped up is here. I'm holding you up. That's what propped up means.
Well, I mean, whatever you want to call it. Maybe propped up is not the correct term.
I'm patronizing.
Framing.
It's patronizing. That's what it is. It's patronizing.
But like I said, I guess no one knows the effects that it's going to have until the effects start coming in. Me, myself, personally, I am the person that stands on the, on the premise that I don't see any reason for anyone to, like I said, try to throw a wrench in the game with what it is that we have going on as foundational Black Americans. And that's what I see as the real problem. Because there's a lot of people that, are intermingled with us that have disdain for us. And this is something that has been called to the forefront in the I want to say within about like the past 4 to 5 years. It's really made its way to the mainstream and has been talked about on a massive level. It's something that people always knew about, and it's something that was always happening. But now with social media being what it is today, people can get together in large numbers and have these conversations. And the problem is that the secret vitriol that people had for us, we really wasn't paying attention to how much of a detriment it was to us as a group of people. And I think it's a good thing that now we're identifying these things and saying we can't have people in our mix that don't mean us well and actually work against us rather than working with us. And that is something that is a reality. You have a person like a Kamala Harris who is of an immigrant background, and she got into political power and she did a lot of stuff for immigrants. But when it came to foundational Black Americans, she pretty much gave us her behind to kiss. And that is a problem. And that is what the types of things that are being identified. And foundational Black Americans are saying, well, we have political power in this country. We contribute a lot to the economy. We do have some level of power in this country. And if people want to, be able to benefit from the collective power that we have, then they're going to have there's going to have to be some reciprocity. Like if you want our support, you're going to have to support us, because it's not going to be any more one-sided type relationships where we're supporting people just off the basis of them being Black, but behind our backs they have vitriol for us, and they're literally undermining us because they don't really rock with us like that. And that's a reality that a lot of us for a while wasn't really aware of. We thought, you know, this is another black person and we're all black people, and you know, for the most part, with the things that matter, we're going to support each other. But unfortunately, we begin to see that, you know, there are these groups of people, and a whole lot more than we even imagine, that don't really rock with us. And you know, it really was time. Like I said, everything happens for a reason. It really was time for a light to be shined on that, because in order for us to be able to you know, have similar accomplishments to our foremothers and forefathers through their, you know, massive political energy and political you know, endeavors, we have to draw a line in the sand and see who's really with us and who's against us, and whoever is in our mix who's against us, we just gotta get them out the paint. And I think that's what this all kind of boils down to. This whole, you know, the foundational Black American identity, and you know, just making that distinction, and you know, letting it be known that as far as the United States of America goes, we're not going to be sunned in our own country. And that's pretty much what it is. That's my perspective. I don't think anybody should feel like they're going to come over here and little brother us on our own land. And I hope that makes sense to everybody, because at the end of the day, it's what's logical and what's real. I mean, we just simply can't allow that to happen. We have to stand up and you know, pretty much just take control of our destiny in this country. And with that being said, I would like to thank everyone for tuning in tonight and joining us right here for Shelly Speaks Truth on 2rawfortv.tv. We will be back next week, same time, same place, God willing. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good night.